Good evening, and thank you so much for tuning in tonight, folks. Truly appreciate it. Well, have you noticed the liberal left so quick to paint every single conservative, especially America First Republican candidates, as criminals, as crazies, right? Extremists, white supremacists. We all know the reason why. Because any conservative who's been out there, whether it be supporting President Donald J. Trump or pushing the America First agenda, gets that evil eye from the corrupt, corporate-fueled media. They just pounce on them. Prime example, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, now proven innocent after months and months of the lamestream fake news lying about him. Gaetz now exonerated. Mainstream media claimed that he would likely face federal charges by the Department of Justice for a sex probe with an underage female. BS. Remember the headlines? Take a look, in case you don't. CNN, what'd they do? Matt Gaetz' ex-girlfriend going to cooperate with federal authorities in a sex trafficking investigation. MSNBC, Matt Gaetz probe, feds reportedly investigate obstruction too. New York Times, Matt Gaetz said face it. You get the idea. We just get rid of that crap. We don't have to put them all up. Now, the man behind the whole scam, which when Mr. Gaetz was on the program a few months back told us there was a guy doing this. 62-year-old Stephen Alford, now been indicted. There he is, for extortion. Stephen's sham was all part of a plan to defraud not only Matt, but get Matt's father's cash. He was trying to get $25 million from him. So joining us now, I hope with a big smile on his face. I haven't seen or spoke to him since this all broke. Florida Congressman, there it is, the $1 million smile, Congressman Matt Gaetz. Well, has your phone been blowing up? Has little Bri Stetler from CNN and MSNBC folks, Joy Reid and them, have they been calling you and apologizing today, Matt?
I'm just too busy watching One America News to pay too much attention to what CNN is doing. You know, I do remember, Dan, that a CNN director was actually caught on hidden camera from Project Veritas saying that the reason they were lying about me and propagandizing my life was not because they believed any of it was true. It's because I'm effective. I stand in the way of a Socialist Democrat agenda that seems to be all the rage with too many here in Washington, D.C. I'm glad there was an indictment against one of the people who was involved in extorting me, but this is only a start, Dan. There are other people that were involved in this fraud, other people with deep ties to the federal government, and it's my hope, it's my expectation that the investigation will continue on those ends. But it does feel refreshing to have people know that the facts, the evidence continue to bear out what I've been saying on One America News for 5 months now.
Yeah, like when we had you back on the program to deny the claims. And I said, I believe you. This sounds like, I mean, come on, this crap's been going on in D.C. for decades. People extort cash, they bribe, they blackmail, and that's what it seemed like to me. And sure enough, I love that you were proven right, and this scumbag hopefully will get a lot of time behind bars, but we can't end there, like you said. We've got to go after the other people that are culpable. I just want to move on, though, to the double standard. It's got to get under your skin, Matt. It has to. That we watch Hunter Biden, Eric Swalwell, and all these other Democrats. They've got scandals that, I'm sorry, there's some evidence there that proves they're scum. And the mainstream media, if they cover it, it's 30 seconds here, 20 seconds there, then they let it go after a day or so.
There's a practicality. No one at the Department of Justice or FBI thinks that it's going to make their career to make a case against Hunter Biden. You see, Jim Comey converted the FBI into a very political organization, and they really haven't recovered from that. There's a lot of swamp left to be drained throughout the enterprise of government in Washington, D.C., but we do see this pattern of hypocrisy where Democrats want to target people like Devin Nunes for telling Donald Trump the truth about spying on his campaign. They want to target people like Jim Jordan because he's effective. They want to try to share smears about my life. But when the real evidence exposes the real corruption, well, they're nowhere to be found. It almost seems like when they end one witch hunt, they start another. We'll remember, Dan, right as the Russia hoax was fizzling out, they had to get the Ukraine hoax up and going again. And now that it appears that the allegations against me were lies, there is this new effort to target 11 Republicans. I'm sure you saw Nancy Pelosi's January 6th partisan committee putting preservation demands on the phone records of people like myself, Jim Jordan, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Madison Cawthorn, the firebrands that you know and love.
Marjorie's coming up next year just a bit to talk about it. We've got her on the program tonight to discuss it.
And you know, they just will not stop coming for us because they know we're the only ones that will come for them. We're the ones that will actually talk about election integrity, talk about the truth about the relationship with China and the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and we'll actually speak against some of the mandates that are harming our people and limiting our freedom. And that sometimes makes you a target in Washington, D.C., but I'd rather be a target for being effective than to be among those low souls who never enter the arena in the first place.
That's right. You got to get your hands dirty and get in there and fight. Matt, we're almost out of time, but I've got to give you a few seconds to brag on something that you got done for your constituents in your state, because I was watching an old interview, or not an interview, but a monologue from my good friend Bri Stetler over at CNN, and he was ripping you for doing so much television and saying, how does he get any work done in his district? He's always on television, and they had a count of how many hours you did of TV one month. But real quick, brag on yourself and your team for getting $600 million to help out our military in bases in your state. So you are working. You're in the halls of Congress doing things for your constituent. And oh, by the way, you fit in some TV, just like Trump did. The guy worked 20 hours out of 24 hours a day. You can get stuff done.
Well, I make no apologies for being a lawmaker and better at television than Brian Stelter. There are $600 million now authorized to come to my community in Northwest Florida. We've got bases that contribute to the fight that we're ultimately going to have against China with munitions, weapon systems, radar, telemetry. So I'm very proud of that. I'm also proud of the fact that we're going to have a 2.7% pay raise for our troops. They absolutely deserve that. We're going to get that to President Biden's desk. We hope he signs it. Our troops sure deserve it.
Nice. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, representing the 1st District down there. Thank you so much for all you do, and I'm so glad to just do this report with you today on the day that your name has been cleared. So great. Matt, you take care, brother.
Good being on with you, Dan. Look forward to seeing you in person.
Yep.